guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. So we are on day 5. I believe it's day 5. It is October 5th, right? Yes, it is day 5 of 31 Days of Halloween. So if you guys don't know what 31 Days of Halloween is, it's where I'm going to be trying to upload every single day in October for 31 days straight. And then after October, literally November 1st, I leave to Mexico for an entire week. So I won't be uploading the first week of November, obviously, but I'm going to be trying to upload every single day in October for you guys. So for spooky content and just get in the mood for spooky season. I don't really have anything else to ramble about. I'm really hoping my wig does not hit my mic today because it makes a weird noise when it does that. I have my wicked candle in here making the whole room smell like caramel apple. I have a bunch of submissions from people on Facebook actually. I am in a Halloween group and I posted in there just asking if anybody had any crazy paranormal stories that they had experienced in their lives, and a bunch of people messaged me. So I'm really excited to read your guys' personal stories again. So I will be updating the clown story as soon as I have an update, and I will be updating the something in the water story once we have an update again. I don't currently have updates for those stories, so I can't give you guys updates until the authors post more. But if you guys are interested in those stories and updates, please feel free to leave me a comment down below and let me know which one you guys want me to continue. I'm really interested in continuing the clown one, and I'm not super interested in continuing the something strange in the water one. But if you guys are invested in the water one, I definitely will continue it. I just find that that story is a little too bizarre for me, but whatever you guys want is whatever I will do. Let's jump into the spooky stories though. So this is just from somebody on Facebook. I'm gonna keep everything anonymous so I don't say any names or anything, but let's just jump into their story. This happened to me when I was 4 years old. It's been 30 years, but I remember it like it was yesterday. There are many strange occurrences in this house, but this is the one that started everything. Some backstory. My entire family has lived in the same small Kansas town for 4 generations. My mother grew up there and moved away with her mother when she was around 15. A year later, she was involved in a very tragic car accident where she was the only survivor. After waking up from a month-long coma, there was a lawsuit against the company who owned the other vehicle, and my mom won a large settlement. Shortly after the lawsuit, my mother was whisked back to the small Kansas town by her father. It wasn't long before my mother was back in high school and met my father and was pregnant with me. By the time she was 17, she had married my father and graduated from high school. They bounced around from small house to apartment to small house again, in a town of about 1,000 people. There isn't much to choose from. Eventually, they got sick of the roach-filled slums and decided to use the money my mom had to buy a house. As with the rental side of things, houses were somewhat tough to come by as well. Most homes are family-owned and have been for decades, but they did find one house available for sale. The house they settled on was a large 2-story home across the street from a high school. It was built in the 1800s, when the streets in town were either dirt or brick. As with any big, creepy old house next to a high school, people talked about it, but none of my parents' friends had actually ever been inside. When my mom viewed it, she found it to be absolutely beautiful. She instantly spent almost all of her settlement on the house and purchased it in her name alone. My mom, dad, and I was 3 at the time, moved in shortly after. Less than a year later, my parents divorced and my dad moved out. My mom and I ended up living there, alone, for almost 9 years. I know this is getting a bit long, but it's important to understand the layout of the home. You open the front door to a large staircase in the middle of the house. On the left was a small living room area, and on the right was a larger living room-esque space by what was once a double-door doorway, but the door was missing. The bathroom was under the stairs, which led to one downstairs bedroom. Spanning the back of the house was the kitchen and laundry room, which was clearly once a back porch. Upstairs was a bit strange. The staircase was in the center of the house, which led almost all the way to the back of the house. At the top of the stairs, to the right was a bedroom, which was mine. To the left was a long hallway. In the middle of the hallway was a door to another bedroom, which was my mom's, and at the end was a room called the balcony room. It was a cool fall night in 1994. My mom and I had been at her friend's house, Jay, that's what we called him anyway, for most of the evening, listening to the Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, or whatever edgy music was most popular back then. She was 21 at this time, into partying, dumber than a box of rocks, and had no problem dragging me along through all of her bullshit. But that's another story. I remember having a good time with all of her friends, and they usually treated me pretty fine. So I had a good time hanging out late into the night. But around 2 or 3, it was time for us to go home. We pulled up to the driveway in front of the garage after a short 10-minute drive. The garage was about 100 feet from the back of the house, and we could see our bedroom lights shining through the lace curtains in the upstairs window. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary or strange at all. We walked up the small path to the back door that led to the laundry room, both yawning and ready to go to sleep. Once we got inside, the light from the large living room shined through the open doorway into the kitchen, lighting our way. We walked through the kitchen and into the living room, and that's when we heard it. Footsteps, somewhere inside the house. We peered into the living room, but couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. My mom called out hello and got no response in return, just more footsteps. Mom and I made the trek to the front of the house, stopping near the foot of the stairs. The light from the living room bled over the bottom few stairs into a smaller living room on the other side. Unfortunately, the upstairs hallway light had been out since we moved in. That's why we typically left the bedroom light on, so the light could bleed into the hallway. But looking up at the staircase was looking up into complete darkness. Someone had turned off the bedroom lights and was running around upstairs. My mom called out again, "Who's up there?" Of course, no response. The footsteps were getting more intense. Like most old houses, when something is dropped or someone is stomping on the floor, you feel it everywhere. We started to feel the footsteps, and they were turning into stomps. One last time, my mom called out, "Who's running around up there?" And for a split second, the footsteps stopped. Then, the stomping started. I could feel the stomps walking down the hallway toward the top of the stairs. Then they started almost running down the stairs. My mom and I stood petrified, knowing whoever was running around in our home was about to reveal themselves by stepping into the light. I remember feeling them in the floor, getting closer with every stomp. The stomping stopped right at the foot of the stairs. Nothing was there. It seemed like an eternity that my mom and I both stood there staring at the last step, but I'm pretty sure it was only a second. Then as quickly as it stopped, the stomping started again. Back up the stairs, around the banister, and down the hallway. Once we snapped out of it, my mom picked me up and ran me back to the car. She backed out of the driveway and we went back to Jay's house. Once we were there, Mom told Jay what we had seen. "There's no way someone's fucking with you," he said. She begged him to come back to the house and see it for himself. He agreed. We pulled up to the front of the house, this time not even bothering with the back door that we usually came through. I'm sure my mom expected us to open the door and everything to be completely normal. Jay would laugh at the situation and we'd take him home. I know I thought that, but that's not what happened. Jay opened the door first and we walked in. Standing at the foot of the stairs, just where Mom and I had been 20 minutes ago, we heard the same stomps as before. Instantly, Jay said, "Watch. We're going to go outside and find the ladder that they climbed up to get into your house. We'll pull it down, then they'll have to reveal themselves." We went outside, and of course, no ladder or any other way that someone could have broken in. We went back inside, and it happened again. All the way to the bottom of the stairs was stomping, right in front of Mom, Jay, and myself. Jay ushered us outside and said, "How about you guys stay at my place tonight?" And we spent the night there. The next morning, we went back. The sunlight was shining in, illuminating the upstairs hallway. When we made it to the top of the stairs, everything was normal. Nothing was misplaced, no windows were left broken or left open. Everything was exactly how we left it. This is one of my earliest childhood memories. I was just a little guy back then, and I didn't really understand what had happened to me. I just knew that this wasn't normal. Little did I know this was the first of many paranormal experiences in this home, and its history has much more to tell us. And that's how they ended the story. So I definitely want to hear more of their stories. I messaged them and I asked them if they would be comfortable with me sharing this and if they could send me more of their stories, and they agreed. So when I have an update, I will definitely update you guys, but I found that really, really interesting. And for somebody that's just posting this on Facebook, they wrote that out really well. I could visualize that entire story. It was very well written, and it was coming from his memory from almost 30 years ago. So that is absolutely crazy. Having something invisible in your house stomping and making that noise and making itself known, like its presence known, is just so fucking creepy. I hate that so much. And to be at like a 3-year-old at the time, like fuck that. That's so scary. Oh my God. I can't believe you can remember that far back. That's absolutely crazy. So this is another one from my inbox on Facebook, and they said, "A lot has happened to me in that house. Years of living there make for a lot of good stories. The main one that I want to talk about is a shadow person mimicking my brother and scaring me. Another one happened while I was completely home alone. Small thing, but still spooky. I was home alone and I was walking through the house from room to the kitchen. I'm in socks and we had hardwood floors. I walk to the kitchen and I hear footsteps behind me. I have dogs, but these clearly sounded human. I stopped in my tracks for a second and turned around quickly to see if anything was behind me. I looked down, and right where I was walking, there was wet footprints, like someone walking in a puddle and walked through the house. I was, like I said, in socks. I checked my feet and they were completely dry, And you know if your feet was wet, even in socks. I still have no idea what that was about, and I just try to forget about it. I have another one. One from me and one from my brother. Mine is pretty freaky, and it happened more than once. In my room as a teenager, all I did was lay on my bed and watch TV. As I would lay there, watch my shows, play on my phone, whatever, I was in bed and I was searching for my remote to turn the volume up or down, and I couldn't find it. I got out of bed and I started searching my bed. You know how remotes are and they just disappear when you need them? I'm tossing my blankets and my stuffed animals on the floor, and my remote is nowhere to be found. I get kind of pissed off and I start tossing everything off my bed, pillows, and even the sheets. I still can't find it. So I take a breath and tell myself I'm just going to leave the room for a minute and come back in with fresh eyes. Maybe I'm just missing it. I leave and come back maybe 5 minutes later, walk in my room, and on the empty bed, dead center in the middle of the mattress, face up, is my remote. I looked at it and I just burst into tears. I didn't know what else to do but sob because everyone was going to think that I was crazy. So this is my brother's and I was not present for, but he has always been a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal, until it happened to him. Out of our garage, we had one of our old mattresses and we stood it up against the wall, lengthwise, if that makes sense. My brother had drawn with Sharpie a dartboard on the mattress and would toss our lawn darts at it. So one day, him and his friend were in the garage playing mattress darts, and he would always leave the darts in the mattress to remember the score or whose turn it was. Well, my mom calls them in for something, likely dinner, and he and his friend go inside. Darts still in the mattress. They finish what they were doing and go outside to the garage, and the darts are no longer in the mattress. Instead, they are neatly organized, almost perfectly laid on the table in the garage. He still gets scared when he tells that story because he's a skeptic. He wants to logically explain it, but him and his friend both clearly remember leaving them in the mattress. And that's how they ended the story. So I would love to hear more of their stories too. So if they have any more updates, I will definitely let you guys know. But these ones are just like little occurrences, but still really, really creepy. The next one that I'm going to read is again from the same Facebook group. And they said, "Hi, I'm in the Halloween group with you and I've got some spooky real stories for you. As a child, and even now at 45, I had trouble with walking in my sleep and having very vivid nightmares. I even saw things in the darkness at night. My grandmother was bipolar, and as is my mother. I am too. I have supposed the genetic predisposition for it. I always thought these weird happenings were somehow related to the bipolar disorder, like wires crossed in my brain. I used to talk to a painting when I was a child. There was a little girl and a little boy in the painting, which my mother had seen as an advertisement for some product and had painted the picture that came along with it in a huge canvas in my bedroom. The little children were in bed, falling asleep after having read a book. I used to see the lips of the little girl move and could hear a child's voice speak to me in the still nights in my house in the country. I still have the painting, but it sits in my attic now because I'm afraid if I have it on display, she will speak to me again. Even though I'm on medication to level out my wonky brain, you never know what could happen." And I responded with, "I would hate something invisible talking to me. I hate that so much." And she wanted to send me another story. She said, "Another time in my youth, I was staying with my grandparents in their home for the weekend. It was a hot summer night in Texas, and they only had a box window unit for air conditioning, which was on the other side of the house. So I was sleeping with my head at the foot of my bed to get a draft from the box fan sitting there. Since it was so hot, sleeping was difficult. I had a view from my bedroom down through the hallway and into the kitchen, which the refrigerator being the last thing within my sight. As I peered into the semi-darkness, I saw a little curly-headed boy run silently from my grandparents' room all the way to the refrigerator. He opened it, looked inside, and turned to me, smiled, and vanished. I was terrified, but I couldn't make any noise. So I closed my eyes tightly and went back to sleep. The next morning, I mentioned this episode to my grandmother, and she said, 'That's one of them. The other is a lady in high heels. I hear them click when she walks.' I've often, as I said before, had very vivid dreams. Even so realistic, I'd ask people about things from them the next day, only for them to look at me and claim such things never happened. Once I dreamt my grandfather was sitting in his favorite chair, and he had a terrible expression on his face. I walked toward him, and he mumbled, 'It hurts.' I looked at his arm, and there was a dark, charred hole just above his wrist. Peering deeper into the hole, I saw no bones and only black dust. A month later, he was speaking to my mother and said, 'I'm in a lot of pain. My bones on my wrist hurt.' She insisted she take him to the doctor, where tests were ordered. Upon return, tests showed that he had bone cancer, and some were being eaten away, and he died the following month. Holy crap. So you had a premonition of your grandfather having bone cancer? Holy crap, that's so scary and so heartbreaking. My goodness. And now, at 45 years of age, I still see things and hear things others don't. I have been diagnosed with, I'm sorry if I say this wrong, I have been diagnosed with narcolepsy, but my psychiatrist, who prescribes medication for it, one of the symptoms is a sleep paralysis. And if I'm asleep long enough, I see sleep demons, as narcoleptic patients call it. Will come into the room, peer around the doors of whatever room I fall asleep in, and he will try to drag me off into another room. He is absolutely terrifying. Imagine a being like Venom from Spider-Man, but without the tongue hanging out and no eyes. He has claws and fanged teeth. He's entirely black except for his teeth, which are very white. He claws or slowly walks towards me, and I can't move even though I want to. I've always woken up either just before he gets to me or if he starts to drag me away. I try to make light of it because it's so scary. I call him Steve to be silly in my waking hours, and my husband calls my episodes drifting into the nether. Holy crap, I would absolutely hate to have sleep paralysis. I'm very interested in finding some more stories on sleep paralysis because sleep paralysis demons and sleep paralysis in general and like lucid dreaming is just so interesting, but at the same time, so fucking terrifying. I hate that so much. If I saw something in my room at night, I would probably die of just straight up fear. I am the biggest chicken and I would not stay at my house. I would probably literally get up and go to my parents' house and stay at my parents' house because fuck that. For like the majority of the week, because my boyfriend works out of town, I'm home alone. It's just like me and my dog. And if I ever heard or saw something in the middle of the night, I would probably literally just go to my parents' house because fuck that. That is so terrifying. So this is all of the stories that I'm going to read in this video because we are already at the 20-minute mark. I hope you guys enjoyed more personalized stories. My friends on Facebook, and I like to read your guys' personal stories too and mix it up a little bit. I know you guys have been really enjoying this series lately, but I don't have any updates on the series. So as soon as I have an update, I will make a video. But as for now, I probably will be reading more just Reddit stories and your guys' personal paranormal stories. So if you guys have any personal stories you want to share with me, now is the time. Feel free to message me on Instagram or send me an email and I will be getting to all of your guys' content that you guys have sent me over the past probably year or so this month. So like I said, if you guys have sent me something and I haven't read it, please feel free to re-message me and boost it up in the chat. If I haven't gotten back to you and I haven't told you there's something wrong with like the wording or something, please feel free to send me another message and then I can reread it again and see what's wrong with it and let you know, and then maybe we can work together and reformat it so it makes more sense. Because sometimes when you guys send me stories, I just don't fully understand what you're trying to tell me and I can't always read them. So if there's a text that you guys have sent me over the past year or so and I haven't gotten to it, please feel free to message me again and we can try to figure out the story or we can figure out what happened, because a lot of the time I'm gonna blame Instagram because Instagram sucks. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys made it to the end of the video, please leave me your favorite, let's do your favorite color. Leave me your favorite color in my comment section down below. Let me know that you guys made it to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. It really helps boost my video in the algorithm so I can get more friends watching and we can build a bigger audience. I am almost at 10,000 subscribers and I'm so excited. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.